How late do you want this video to be? Oh yeah, as late as we can get it, baby. Right now, it's 12:30 a.m. at night. It is Saturday, technically Saturday morning, and if you had seen the last video on this YouTube channel, you would have seen that I was actually in the ER because the other day in ball hockey, I wasn't wearing a cup, and I blocked a shot. Had to go to the hospital to make sure I can still have kids, and luckily for us, we are okay in that regard, but my Friday was literally wake up, feel some immense pain, head over to the hospital. We got there at 2 p.m., or that's when I got there, and I did not leave the hospital until 11:30 p.m. at night. It took 9.5 hours of checking in, waiting, getting my blood pressure, waiting, going into a room, waiting, talking to a physician, waiting, going to an ultrasound, waiting, and then waiting even longer for the radiologist to give me my results. And that took 9.5 hours. Dude, my phone was at 15% by the end of it. I was buying cards on eBay because I had nothing else to do. I watched 2 silent films, and I watched a hockey game, all while waiting in this small, tiny little room that I also happened to record a video in. So that was my day. I literally did nothing. I haven't had anything to eat in over 24 hours. I got home right after buying some beautiful, tasty Osmos, and before even sitting down and chowing down on that as my first meal in over 24 hours, I was like, no, we have to make a video about this because I did indeed watch every single second of the Edmonton Oilers and their Game 6 victory against the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. What a surprise. The Oilers ended up winning. And I say what a surprise very sarcastically, because if you've been paying attention to the series, you've been paying attention to the social media discourse, I feel like the majority of NHL fans already thought by the time Edmonton won Game 5 in Florida, okay, this is going to 7 because there's no way Edmonton is losing the cup on home ice in Game 6. They exploded in Game number 4, 8-1 victory to take control of the series despite being down 3-1. They stormed back and won in Florida to get their wins up to 2, and then in Edmonton one more time. The building is buzzing, the fans are electric, everybody is going nuts in Edmonton. And this is where the Oilers win 5-1. And the funny part is, it's like, this game wasn't really a 5-1 game if you had watched certain parts of it, I guess you could say. Because in the second period, I'd say that the Florida Panthers definitely won that. They had a lot of chances, but they just could not beat Stuart Skinner. However, the portions of the game that were won by Edmonton, oh yeah, they won them big time, and they won with results. That first period was devastating for the Florida Panthers because, my gosh, they just did not get anything to go there. They had a few scoring opportunities, yes, but they only had 2 total shots. Meanwhile, the Edmonton Oilers walk out of the first period with a beautiful 1-0 lead. Warren Foegele from Leon Draisaitl, baby. Yeah, that's right, that guy's still alive. He's still in here. He's still putting in the work. And in the second period, while the Oilers did have the only 2 goals of the second period, they came at the beginning and the very end of the frame. First goal, Adam Henrique. Beautiful setup by Matthias Janmark out in front. Henrique, 46 seconds into the period, gets things going and it makes it 2-0. And then Zach Hyman, on a breakaway with 2 minutes to go in the second, makes it 3-0. The Oilers actually kind of got caved in for a moment in this second period. They only had 4 shots in the period themselves, but 2 of them went in. Florida, by the way, had 11 shots in the second period, but this is where you start to see teams not being able to capitalize on their chances and how it comes back to bite them. There was a goal scored by Aleksander Barkov, but it was taken away due to the offside coach's challenge call, and it was like the tightest, most inconceivably small distance of coach's challenge material that you could have been given. But the referees, they went the Oilers' way. They said no goal, sorry Barkov, and Chris Knoblauch looks like an absolute genius. You want to talk about having balls of steel, like maybe me in ball hockey a few days ago? You want to talk about that? You talk about Chris Knoblauch, dude. Because they were kind of saying, hey, Paul Maurice said he wouldn't have challenged that goal. Knoblauch He's not Paul Maurice, because Knobloch, in a way, acknowledges that this Oilers team has only had one power play goal scored against them the entire playoffs, I think, in like 40-something attempts. The Oilers can afford to take a coach's challenge in the game where they're leading because they know if they're down 5-on-4, they have what it takes to kill it off. Meanwhile, for the Panthers, you could say, oh, it's because Paul Maurice doesn't trust his team. That's why he wouldn't want to do it. You can dive into some of those, but honestly, it's just one coach had the balls to do it, and it paid off. That's why at the end of the period, it was 3-0 rather than 3-1, or whatever the score could have been had the momentum just been given to Florida in their favor. Third period, though, Aleksander Barkov gets on the board. He scores a beautiful goal, dances by the Oilers' defense and Stuart Skinner. He redeems himself. He had the goal taken away in the second. He had a goal here, 3-1. But then the Oilers just decided to hang on. They started to play their defensive, let's just collapse into the middle and take everything away style of hockey, and then they had scored 2 goals in the empty net, Ryan McLeod and Darnell Nurse. Stuart Skinner, by the way, getting a primary assist on Darnell Nurse empty net goal. It was a beautiful play. He makes the stop, the puck is loose in the crease, he knocks it down with the stick, and then he plays the puck outward to Nurse, who takes it and drives it all the way down into the empty cage. Make it 5-1 Edmonton, and we are heading over to a game number 7. This is the third time in NHL history that a team in the Stanley Cup Finals down 3-0 has forced a game 7. If the Oilers win, it will be the second time in history that team that was down 3-0 ended up winning in a reverse sweep, and the Oilers have all the momentum here. I mean, everybody's talking about the vibes, the dynamic. Edmonton is celebrating like crazy. Florida, it just seems all doom and gloom and panicky, and you saw the results and the press conference afterwards. A lot of the players saying, yeah, you know, it's our dream to be here. Game 7, Stanley Cup Finals, but no. It wasn't your dream to blow a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Finals. And with the way things are going right now, with the way Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, this Oilers offense has been pushing it, the way everything has been going past Bob in this, I was going to say series, but no, in this stint of like 3 games in a row, the way things are going, it does not look like Florida has much of a chance. This may be one of the worst flights in NHL history to be a part of. The Game 6 to Game 7 Edmonton to Florida flight if you are on that Florida Panthers roster. Now, to be clear, I'm still going to stick by my guns. I had Florida in 7. That can still happen. I'm cheering for Florida. I don't want to see Edmonton win. But can I deny the crazy big story that this would be? Either this is the biggest choke in Stanley Cup Finals history, or we are seeing the Florida Panthers barely grasp on and take advantage of the lead that they have. They snuck out a win in Game 1, dominated in Game 2, then they had themselves that Game 3 victory, and then boom, 3 straight losses where they absolutely looked cooked. And then Game 7 comes along, and what happens after? For Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, though, on the opposite end, if this is how they get their chip, if this is how it happens, then I don't know what else there is to say. GOAT status? Connor McDavid, he's in that conversation? I'd say so. If they can come back from down 3-0 in the finals and end up winning in 7, this may be the best Stanley Cup Finals series that we in our generation of hockey fans will have ever witnessed. And if the Florida Panthers lose, then you have to start feeling for them. In their first time they made the Stanley Cup Finals, they got swept. In their second time last year, they got gentlemen swept. They were down 3-0, and then they won 1, so their dignity is still there, and then they lost in 5 games. And then in their third playoff series in the finals ever, they could get reverse swept? Ay. Somebody call up on Bill Zito. Somebody check the water bottles. This may be a collapse for the ages if it goes that way. But just for the sake of staying true to myself, I'm going to say Florida in 7. I said it at the beginning of the series. I may not have said it after it was 3-0, but we'll see what happens now. I gotta go. I gotta eat my shawarma. I gotta have some food in my stomach for the first time in 24 hours because I just got out of the hospital and I am now here at home. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about the Edmonton Oilers making history. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.